Conference will now be recorded.
Hello everyone, good morning. Any doubts from previous topics? So today we are going to start reports. So what is report? Where these reports are being used in real-time business and how do we work with reports? And basically how many types of reports we have. So these things we will discuss in today's session. So SAP ERP, which is nothing but S4HANA, basically used for reporting purpose, which means if you consider a business where we have couple of end users, they are working for the company, and usually these users need information in different scenarios. Let's say there is a customer, name is Sanjay. He is using Amazon website and he is placing couple of orders, and Sanjay wanted to know the order status. And when Sanjay approaches one of the end user who is a representative from Amazon, and when he talked to them like couple of orders I have placed and there is no clarity on the order delivery, I wanted to see the real status. Then this customer support guy, what he is going to do, he'll use SAP ERP software and he will run a transaction code, let's say a G order status. And when he run this transaction code, he'll get order IDs and status information. So what is the order and what is the status? Is it in progress or waiting for delivery or completed? So that the same information is going to convey to the customer. Now, how this end user will get this information? Because order information which is there in a different table and status information is in a different table. And how end user can pull this information from multiple tables and display together that information into the output so that he can communicate with this customer regarding the order status. So this is one scenario where end users need information. Like that, there are plenty of scenarios where our end users need information from the database from different tables. Whenever they need information from the tables, and they will not go to the database the information from each and every table, and then they won't go and check the status or any information manually. They need an application where they can execute, and simply that application, it will pull all the information from the database and display it to them. And this information which is useful for end users for analysis purpose, decision making purpose. So report is nothing but end user need information from the database where ABAPer can create a program, and that program it will go to the database and fetch the information whatever end user required. Basically in reports, mainly you have two screens. One is input screen and another one is output screen. Input screen where end user will enter inputs. If it is order related information, then order ID information they will enter. I need this order ID related data. Then in the output screen, what will happen? This order ID related information, order ID, when it is created and what is the status, all this information related to user entered ID will come and displayed into the output and pending for delivery. So in every report, you have two types of screens. One is input screen where user interact and enter input. And another one is output screen where you will be getting all the data from the database, and whatever user read, that information you are going to display into the output. And based on the type way you are displaying the data, there are different names in reports. If you are going to create a simple input screen and then get the data into the output screen, whatever user needed, then these kind of reports are called classical reports. Classical reports are nothing but simple reports. We don't have much complexity. We have a simple input, and based on the input, you are going to get the data into the output. So those are classical reports. And then you have ALV reports. So ALV reports are nothing but you are going to use SAP given function modules. I'll tell you function module, and those function modules, whenever you have used in your reports to display data into the output, then those reports are called ALV reports. And also you have interactive reports. Interactive reports are nothing but basically we will display data into output based on the user input. And once again the data is displayed. Again user wanted to check few other details like this is order information. User wanted to see inside order how many items are there. Then one more output screen we are going to generate. In that output screen, we have order related item information. So item 10. So in this order, we have a product that is laptop and quantity. These are 10 and item 20. These are hard disk and item quantity 20. So these are items inside the order. So if user wanted to see again one more output based on the output which is generated primarily, then these kind of reports are interactive reports. And we have object oriented ABAP reports, which is nothing but you are going to use object oriented class methods in your reports, so that that kind of reports are called object oriented ABAP reports. Basically you have different types in the names, but all the reports behavior is same. We have a input, and based on the input you are going to get the data into the output. This is what the main intention. So how you are displaying the data, that depends on the user requirements, and that depends on the way you are using reports in to display the data. Based on that, terminology is going to change. So in reports, first thing what you need to be very clear is how tables information we can pull, because end users sometimes they'll ask single table information, sometimes they'll ask multiple table information. So if you wanted to pull data from multiple tables, you should know how tables are connected. Then only it is possible to get the data. And also whenever any requirement comes, you have to ask your end user or your functionals to explain without a report normally from the database how you will pull the data. If they can explain you, then it is good, you can go and design the report. If they say it is not possible for us to pull the data from the tables, then straight away you can say this requirement is not at all possible, because if there is no way to pull the data from multiple tables, then in report also it is not possible to pull the data. So every time whenever end user come with a requirement, you should ask them to show me how which tables you will use to pull this information. If they are able to show how they can pull, then it is possible to get the data using the report. And one more advantage with the reports is you can run these reports in background. Background means every day 1 hour or every month one time, or every month or once in a week. So you can schedule it without any manual intervention. System, it will execute the report with the input and get the output into the data from the screens. So that possibility also you have in reports. So everything we will see how all these things are possible in reports. So let's start with a simple requirement, which we are going to see how do we get data from a single table. This is single table report. I wanted to show customer information into output. So my input screen is customer ID. If I enter customer ID in my output screen, I wanted to display this customer ID related all information: customer ID, customer name, customer city, region, country, all information I wanted to display into the output. This is what my requirement. So now, once you got the requirement, what you need to ask your end user, show me how you will get the data. Then they'll explain you. Let me log in into SAP system. So they'll go to SC11 or any transaction which end user can access, SC16N, whatever the T code they can access, they'll go and show us, like we will use a table called KNA1 to get the customer information. So in this table, we will enter a customer number and we will execute. So once we have data, it will display into the output. If we don't have any data, then it will show us no data found. So now this is the information we need from the program. So in program, we need a facility where we are going to enter customer number. And once we execute it, we need all this information into the output. We are not interested to go to SS16N and use this table to get the information. We need a T code. From the T code, if you wanted to pull the customer data, we can able to pull it. So this is what end user is going to explain to you. Then you have to design your program what end user is needed. So input screen is customer number. If customer number is there, then you need to display all this information in the report output. If customer, whatever user entered, it is not there, then you have to show message no data found. So now go and create a program. So program will be created in transaction SE38. Execute that and start your program name either Y or Z. I am using like this: Y7 Sanjay customer report. Click on create, enter short description, program to display customer data, and type of program is executable. You'll come to understand different types in coming days. Use executable, click on save as local object. And instead of local object, I will store this in a package so that you will have how in real time a program will be moved from one system to another system, and also how a transport will work, and version management, all these things we can check. So let me store this under a package. So package will be created only once in a time in any project. Okay. So every program we will not create one package. Let me create package. So package will be created from SC80 transaction. Go to SC80 and from here select package and here enter your package Y7 Sanjay. This is my package name. Click on display. So if it is exist, then it will show here. If it is not exist, then you will get this message does not exist. Do you want it to create? Click on yes. Enter short description and in projects what they'll enter. So this is for project eHANA. So whatever the project they are going to use this package, they'll enter that project information and then click on continue. So for each project, one package will be created. Okay. And for that package, one transport request will be generated. This is automatically generated one. So if you okay with this, you can go. Otherwise, you can go with the create request so that a new request will be created for your project. So project eHANA developments and click on save. So this is the transport request especially created for your eHANA developments. So copy your transport request, click on continue. So now this package, you can use it for any objects. So now click here, go to your program, again click on create. So program to get customer data and type of program executable, save. And now I'm going to use this package. What is that? Package name Y7 Sanjay. Is this the one? Yeah, same package Y7 Sanjay. So now click on save. Once you click on save, you can see this is the transport request which generated for our project earlier. So now the same transport request which is generated and you can click on continue. So now save, check, activate your program. And then if you go to utilities, versions, version management, here you can see currently your program which is under this transport request. So once you are completed with your changes and you can go to this version management and hand over this transport request to your team lead or basis consultant so that they can move from one system to another system. From development to quality, they will transport, and then from quality to production, they will transport. And before that, as a ABAPer, once you are done with your changes, so your object he is here and your object is going to assign to a task and this task you have to release. For example, in your project, multiple developers are working for multiple reports. Then if you are a user ABAP HANA 29 and you are creating this program and utilizing the transport request which is given by your team lead. So this is the one. And once you use this, your program is going to store under one task. If another developer is working on a different program and he is also using the same transport request, then what happened for that user, one more task is created with the program what he was using. So that like this, multiple tasks for multiple users and multiple objects will be captured. And for example, my work is done. Then I will come here and I will click on release. so that this task will be released. And then I can go and speak to my manager or team lead saying that my work is done. I have released my task. So then what your team lead is going to do, he will check under this tier, is there any other developers are working? Then he will ask other developers when your work will be finished. So once all the developers work is finished and everyone will come here and release their task, and every task is released, finally your team lead, he is going to release this transport from the development to quality. Now here you are a developer and you are working for a project and you are using one of the transport requests given by TL, and your object will be captured under that tier as a task. So now here go and create your report. So what is your report purpose? You need a input screen where user can enter input. So input will be created with keyword called parameters. So parameters, I'm using p underscore cust and a type followed by your data element. If you are not remember your data element, then table hyphen field also fine. So now what will happen? This particular table field properties are allocated to your input field. So now save, check, activate and execute. So this is your input field, and you can see here you are going to enter many customers, whatever you want. If I click here, this is the customer number, and how I am getting this F4 help here because of my table hyphen Kunar. So then what happened? A type keyword, it will go to this table and Kunar properties, whatever customer field properties we have, those are data element, domain, all those properties will be allocated to your field p underscore cust. And this is what technical name. So technical name end users may not understand. How we can change this technical name? Now go to utilities or go to here tab text elements. You have a tab called selection text. So here remove this and then enter a text what you wanted to display into the output and then save, activate. Now go back and execute. Now you can see this is what text where end user is going to see, and technical name will not be visible for him. So now end user is ready to enter customer ID. So once you enter customer ID, we have to bring that customer data. Now to bring this information, you have to use select keyword. Select star means I need all the data from which table? KNA1 table. And where you wanted to move this data into table, your internal table, IT underscore KNA1. And what is the condition? Where your customer number must be whatever user entered in the screen. That is what the condition. Now save, pretty print. When you go for check, what system will say? Internal table, it is not created. ITKNA1 does not exist. So what is this? It is a table, temporary table, which is created at application layer level to store your data, what you are receiving from the database level. How do we create this internal table? You can create using data keyword, data followed by your internal table, type table of. You have to use keyword called type table of, followed by from which table you are getting data, KNA1. So you need to enter KNA1. Pretty print, save, check. There is no errors. These are warnings you can ignore. Now you are able to get the data from customer master table and then passing that data into your internal table. And now whatever customer user entered, that customer data is presented in the ITKNA1 table. And how do we know data what we have passed in P underscore cust, that is exist and internal table filled or not? That we are going to know using a system variable called size sub rc. So size sub rc is a system variable, and this variable will becomes 0 when it is able to find the data from the database. If customer what we entered, that customer does not exist in the database table, then size sub rc becomes other than 0. So size sub rc is a system variable. It will fill automatically based on the database operation success or fail. If it is success, then value will be 0. If it is failed, then value will be other than 0. Based on this, you can write some message or you can go and display information. Else message, no data found. And whenever you used message, you need to pass message type. So pretty print, save, check, activate. Now execute. So I'm giving customer ID 1, execute. For customer ID 1, we don't have data. If I enter customer ID 2, execute. So you can see data fetched successfully. So where is this data? This data which is present at application layer level. It is at CPU layer level. How can I see a data right now? You can place a breakpoint here at the select and execute and enter your customer, execute. Now cursor is at select, and if you click on P underscore cust, you can see here P underscore cust is a input field which is having value what user entered in the screen. So that is you just entered 2, but why zeros are filled before? Because your input field is referring KNA1 Kunar. In KNA1 table, Kunar data type length is character 10. That's where if you enter 2 also, automatically leading zeros are filled because of no values in 10 characters. Then we are going to get the data from customer master by passing this customer ID to click on F5 or F6. Any of the things you can click here. And slowly you will understand what is the difference between F5 and F6. For now, F6, and you can see size sub RC. Size sub RC is what? System reference, and this is become 0, which is indicating that program able to find the record for customer 2 from the database. And where is this data? Now this data is present at your application table. This is ITKNA1. So here there are two tables. One is KNA1 and another one is ITKNA1. KNA1 is database table which permanently store data and available at database layer level. But ITKNA1 is what? It is internal table which is created at application layer level to store data from the database. So now if you double click on this application table, now you can see this is the data system is captured from the database table KNA1. Now this data is at application layer level. It is not at presentation layer level. So if you wanted to display this data into presentation layer level, then you have to use loop command. So loop is a uh, command we use to read all the records from the internal table and display into the output. For now, what I am doing, I am just passing a message indicating record fetched successfully or not. If I wanted to display this information to output, then instead of this message, you can go and use loop statement. Loop at your internal table ITKNA1 into, you need to pass this data to a work area and end loop. Loop must ends with end loop. So all your data, whatever it is present in your internal table, which will go to work area. So what is the difference between internal table and work area? Internal table is a application table which created at runtime. It store multiple records information. And work area is a structure which is created at application layer. It is ready to hold single record. We can only display information from variable using write keyword. So what we have to do for that, you need to loop your internal table data to work area. And once you have data into work area, using write keyword, you can break your work area into individual variables and display data. This is one variable, work area KNA1 punar -name1, another variable what is 01 and 1. Like this, you have to pass data whatever you wanted to display into the output. So now when I go save check, what I'll get, I'll say work area is unknown. So you need to create work area. How can we create work area? Copy this and go to here along with the data keyword, use column separator, work area, type followed by KNA1. So we need reference from database table KNA1. So now what is the difference between IT KNA1, work area KNA1? So data is a keyword which is used to create the data object, and data keyword is created by using the reference of KNA1, and the keyword type table of what it does, it create a internal table. It is ready to hold multiple values, and I wanted to create a data object to store single record. Then using data keyword, pass your data object and type followed by your database table reference. So when you use type followed by database table, then table reference is given to your structure, and this can accommodate only single value. It will not ready to hold multiple values. So work area and internal table both are created. Pretty print, save, check, activate, ignore the warning messages. Now execute. So enter to execute. So you can see customer, customer name, customer country. If any other data will be there, then it will be displayed into the output. So now you can place a breakpoint here, execute, enter customer to execute. Now here you can see, let me close this upper window. If you go to globals, now you can see in the global section how many data objects are created. These are all data objects, which means these objects which holds data at runtime. And if you see p underscore cust, this is a input data object which holds whatever user entered value from the input screen. And this is internal table. This is created with reference to KNA1, and it is ready to hold multiple records. That's where you can see a bracket is there, which is ready to hold multiple records. And if I click F6, now you can see one record which is stored inside this table IT KNA1. And when you go and check this work area KNA1, which is a structure. So structure means always it holds single record information. It does not have a capability to hold multiple records. Only one record it can accommodate. If you click internal table, you can see from internal table, you can accommodate multiple data. Now, I wanted to display this internal table data into presentation layer level. because this data which is at application layer level, I wanted to show this data into presentation layer. So to show this data into presentation layer level, first we were checking the operation is success or failure. If it is success, then click F6. Then we have used loop command. So loop is a command which is used to read all the records from internal table one by one and then display information to output. So loop, it will read all the records from ITKNA1. For example, in this ITKNA1 table, if you have another record, I can able to pass record from the uh, debugger also. So if I pass here, append row. Now this is one more record for customer DE Charan. Enter. Now how many records are there? For customer number 2, there are 2 records are there. So this loop, how many times it will trigger? It will trigger 2 times. So first time it will read first record RAM and then move to work area KNA1. So click F5. Now work area KNA1 is containing RAM information. Now this work area we were breaking down into individual variables. Variable meaning is what? It can accommodate only single value. If you click here work area KNA1, this is single value of customer. This is name and this is city and this is country. Now each value inside a work area, which is nothing but group of fields, and when it is a group of fields, we can say it is a structure. And when you break down each component, each field value, then it says variable. Now using right keyword, you can pass this data to output. How many times this loop will trigger? This loop trigger 2 times because in internal table 2 records are there, and this is second time. After second time, do you have any data? No. Then you can see loop is ended up and then it is going outside. So this arrow indicates that it is completed the process and it is there is no logic after that. So now click F8 and then you can go and check the data present here. So all the 2 records information which is coming here. So working with reports is very easy. Only thing, we need a input screen and based on the input we need to get the data. Now whenever any time requirement comes, it is your responsibility to ask either business or functional, explaining that how do we get the data from the tables. If it is single table, multiple tables, they have to show to you how they can get the data manually from tables. Then in the same way, you can go and write your code to pull the data from the database layer level. And now if you see, this is a classical report. So classical report is nothing but we are not going to use any SAP provided functionalities or any class methods approaches. So directly we are getting the data and displayed to the output level. Now once this report is done, then how end user can access this report? On top of this report, you have to create a T code. How can we create a T code? So copy your program name, go to SC93 and here enter your T code name. So Y Sanjay customer and click on create. So this is T code for customer data. And here we have different types of T codes. So in this, you have to choose transaction with transaction and selection screen. You need to select this one, program and selection screen, report to transaction. Click on continue. Here you have to enter the program which you wanted to allow user to execute and enter input. And after providing the program name, simply click on save and you can use your package to store the transport under uh, your package. So once that is done, Now T code is ready. You can hand over this T code to your end user. Now end user, he will come into the screen and he will enter the transaction, and then he will get the input screen and he will enter input and he can check the data. So from now onwards, customer requirement comes. What customer he will come back to you and ask, right? So he will say, for example, if I am not giving any number, I'm trying to execute. Okay. So if I'm doing like this, I wanted to show some message saying that customer ID is mandatory. You have to enter some value. This is one kind of requirement. In another kind of requirement, whenever I enter T code, okay, and whenever I come here, by default, it has to show me customer ID too. This is one more requirement. And another requirement, when you are displaying the data into the output, okay, so I want here a proper names. So what is this too? Is it customer ID or what? What is RAM? Is it customer name? What is DE? Is it customer country? I need headings. And also I need data displayed in a beautiful manner. I need customer ID, which indicating it's a key field with some color difference. And I need here some buttons. I wanted to download this data. Then I need a button here. I wanted to sort information based on country. I need a sort in button here. So these are all customer needs, basically, which will be asking in real time when you displayed information into the output using the reporter. So those things we will see in our coming classes. So for today, what you learned is what is a report, and if you wanted to display single table information into the output, how can we create a report with input screen and using select, and how can we display that we have seen in our today's session. And tomorrow we will learn how do we display data in a beautiful manner, and whatever customer is asking, how those things we can achieve it. And also if you observe here, KNA1 table is having 250 records, but I am displaying only 4 columns, even though I fetched all the records. Why? Because if you wanted to display, you need to manually enter all your field names here. Then only you can display. But it is very difficult task to enter 250 fields, right? So this will also we will see how can we display data, all information into output with simple code. Okay. I'll be stopping with this. Any doubts so far? Okay, if no questions, we can wind up for the day. Thank you all. Have a good day. Bye. How to call standard program? Standard program
Sanjay,
from,
Sanjay, can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, Sanjay. I have one requirement. We have a cockpit, right? Standard. We are building a cockpit. Within the cockpit, there are multiple reports, and as a learner, I want to add one thing, which is I want to call SM12. Like I want to show the lock entries in that. So my requirement is I want to include that in my cockpit, but and I have to call the standard program. Uh, Maybe if
What
you
is
can,
this cockpit?
I mean, in the same cockpit, like we have multiple executions, right? Pending invoices, blocked invoices, trade block invoices, all of them in the same thing. The operations team can go to that cockpit and search all of them, what are all pending. And in that, one of the objects I took is I will call SM12 from the same cockpit.
No, I didn't understand. So cockpit is what? So it is like any standard SAP T code where you
No,
have
okay.
different menus,
Okay,
or
let
it
me
is
take
a
it.
program
It's a custom built cockpit where the operations team we will go and check what are all the failures on a daily basis actually, right? Like pending invoices,
which
failed
means it's
output.
a custom transaction.
Correct, correct, correct.
So you can
Right?
include it in that transaction. you can go and then use this SM12 call SM12 code so
Exactly.
that
That's what I would like to know. I mean, if
mm,
you can include that as a 5 minutes thing or something in the next class, that would be helpful.
that is you will come to understand in module pool designing.
Sure.
This is
Okay.
report, that is module
Okay.
pool design.
Okay. And when we will be going there, actually?
It will take some time because we have to finish reports and then we should go to interface and then we'll go to module pool programs.
Okay. No problem.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Okay then. Bye.